Hey, I'm Ramon Abad, and I'm a Filipino-American teacher, artist, and puppeteer based in San Francisco. I've been fortunate enough to have been doing puppetry and making puppets for over about 20 years now, and I started at Filipino-American festivals throughout the city, including Yerba Buena Center back in the day in the 90s, and I didn't know what the heck I was doing. But then I joined, became an intern at the American Conservatory Theater here in downtown San Francisco, and I worked in the prop department. I got the fortune of working with Larry Reed, who owned a shadow theater company because of working in that theater, and I became a member of his theater company as a puppeteer and a designer and a maker back in the mid-90s, and that's how I learned how to do this craft, by working with some amazing, talented people over the years. So I also, at the same time when I was part of Shadow Light Productions, the shadow theater company, I also joined Tongue in the Mood, a Filipino-American sketch comedy troupe that's based at Benil Stiff Studio and 6th and Howard, and they're still there, the theater. I learned a lot more about my Filipino-American culture from that time, and by working with so many diverse people, from musicians, clown artists, stand-up comedians, great designers, and people who actually trained in theater as well. And till this day, till 2022, I'm still learning from a lot of the new generation that's coming out of there as well. The reason why I create is my just natural love for art. I'm a big art nerd. I love watching art, seeing art, and actually being around art. Many different types of art and many different types of cultures. I'm very interested. It's a way for me to understand and explore the world as well. There was a period in my life when I was younger that I tried to be a full-time artist and not work. And that was a challenge. So I had to learn that, and now a little bit more mature now, I'm starting to understand the balance between having a work and also being able to have a practice. So the challenge is still ongoing even after all these years. Oh, how I embody my Filipinx identity through my art is making work that speaks directly to our people. Maybe using some of our language, some of our Tagalog. I happen to be Visayan, so incorporating some of our cultural references and some of our characters, a tita character like this, so that because a lot of our representation doesn't have a lot of diversity for one, and there's not enough of a presence in the pop culture that inspires us, and not enough in the movies and TV and Netflix, Hulu, etc. So I want to propel forward the idea that we, as Filipinx creatives, we can definitely voice many divergent voices from all shades of gender and sexuality, that we have a platform. Balay Kreative is this amazing, great space that's been opened up to all the shades of Filipino, Filipina, Filipinx that's in the Bay Area. And I've been so fortunate to meet and work with directly a lot of very talented people through this amazing space. It's not just an art studio, it's also a cultural center. It's a great hub for creative ideas, and also to see a lot of people actually making things and creating things in our community. One of my favorite artists here is Sir Sayok, and see his work at Kapwa and in the Filipino Cultural Center and all around South America. It's amazing. And seeing Chicha and Viv's work and their murals, and Christine Blanco's work and the murals at Kapwa. I'm just so incredibly fortunate to be in this space and to be here. Balay has helped me grow as an artist by providing a space for me to actually work on a lot of the projects this past year, especially during lockdown. coincidentally, I was looking for a studio space so I could make puppets and some projects that were coming out. Before this, I was doing all my stuff in my kitchen, and it just too hectic. It just got too crowded, and you can't leave stuff around. But at least hearing about this space and being able to be one of the resident artists here has made a big difference in all the great projects I've been able to work on here and continue to work. I really am trying to take advantage of this opportunity and of this space to really make as much work as possible. My experience at Balay as a resident artist has been a way of being just amazed and learning, actually. It's not just about working on my craft, but also being in close proximity to seeing other artisans and other makers, and being able to actively see how things have changed and their practice change as well. And also the events that have come through has been such an amazing way to really engage and speak with and talk with others and get feedback from others too, that you normally wouldn't get outside of the gallery world and also outside of just an online experience. It's been such a very important experience for me, especially coming out of our COVID restrictions, that we're still able to be in the same room and still be able to connect. The many projects I have started and completed and continue here at Balay, I've started mostly with the art installation next to my puppet booth. That was one of the first projects I wanted to make since I had my first studio, and I wanted to make an interactive idea, which I called Mabuhay Friend. This has led to exploring other types of puppetry. With the artist grant that I received from Balay Kreative from Cultivate Labs, I was able to make the start of a puppet booth. I commissioned a young Filipina illustrator from Seattle, Ninang Nunu, to do the graphics, and had commissioned an artisan, a friend's brother based in Manila, to make and design these puppets that were shipped over. And then last year, from a San Francisco Arts Commission grant, I was able to make a short video based on a story about the Filipino Bay Area mobile DJ scene from the 90s. And these puppets, these 4 puppets, were all made here at Balay, created by Sir Sayak, and the heads were 3D printed by our friend Mark Ari, or Al Boogie, DJ Al Boogie. And we shot that video mostly all here at the space. So it's been an incredible ride so far. What was it like to create for the SOMA Pilipinas community? It's been an ongoing experience. It's been, I'm so fortunate to still know a lot of the people who have been from my generation and older, who are still present or still here in SOMA Pilipinas, and from community activists to artists, and meeting a lot of the newer generation as well, and the younger generation, which I really want to really have them move forward our cultural identity here of Filipino, Filipina, Filipinxes, specifically in San Francisco. Right now, I'm currently working on directing the first indoor children's show at Bindlestiff. I'm working with, I was fortunate enough to receive a grant through the Asian Pacific Islander Cultural Center. And we're doing the show at Bindlestiff Studio, May 21 and 22nd, for kids 5 years old and older. One of the main reasons, rather, that I'm really compelled to do this is there's not enough children's theater in the South of Market, for one thing, let alone children's theater for Filipinx families and kids. There really isn't. I've looked around and I know a lot of the groups here, and also the groups created for youth and kids here. There's some great organizations out here, but There is a severe lack of live theater for kids, and one of my missions is to really make an impact in bringing more people and more talented people creating theater and art for kids. My dream project I would do is to have a whole puppet theater play that could tour nationally in different parts of the country where there are big communities of Filipinx families and kids. I know, I also grew up in the Midwest for a bit, so I know there's Filipinx, Filipinas, and Filipinos all over this country. And whenever I meet anyone out of the Bay, everyone's amazed to see the amount of art and theater and music that comes out from the Bay Area in the Filipino scene. And I tell you, especially there's great representation for music, dance, and also fashion in our community, but there isn't enough for children. And my dream would have a play that would speak to the Filipina and Filipinx families out there, but tailored for a young audience. What advice I would give to young Filipinx creatives or my younger self would be mostly to keep making work, to not stop, to continue creating your ideas and not just posting pictures of your favorite thing and not just watching your favorite video, but actually making videos, making anything that inspires you or someone else. It's in the act of creating that we really become full artists. It's not just about tagging and liking, it's about actually making things. And you're going to make mistakes, and you're going to be frustrated, and especially the challenge of not being able to make a living off of this is a big challenge. But I encourage everyone, all young generation, to keep going, keep making it, and make your voices loud, especially in the city of San Francisco.